March 8, 2014, 239 people boarded a routine overnight flight. They expected breakfast in Beijing. Instead, they became part of the greatest aviation mystery in modern history. No distress call, no explosion, no confirmed crash, just one aircraft that vanished into the darkness. For more than a decade, satellites, warships, submarines, and the world's greatest investigators have searched for answers. But flight MH370 still refuses to give up its secrets. Tonight, we reopen the case, and every clue will lead us deeper into the unknown. Kuala Lumpur International Airport. The terminal never sleeps. Families hug goodbye. Business travelers check their phones. Children stare through giant windows at glowing aircraft waiting beneath the lights. Nothing feels unusual. Flight MH370 is just another overnight journey connecting Malaysia and China. Departure time, 12:41 a.m. No one inside the terminal realizes history is about to change forever. The aircraft waiting at Gate C1 is a Boeing 777, one of the safest and most trusted airplanes ever built. It has crossed oceans thousands of times. Its maintenance records show no major concerns. Its fuel tanks are full. Its systems are operational. To every engineer, every pilot, and every passenger, this flight appears completely ordinary. Inside the cockpit sits Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, a veteran pilot with thousands of flight hours. Beside him is First Officer Farooq Abdul Hamid, young, ambitious, preparing for another routine international flight. Together, they perform the final checklist. Every switch is verified. Every instrument is checked. Nothing suggests that this flight will become one of aviation's greatest unsolved mysteries. S5. Passengers settle into their seats. Some watch movies. Some fall asleep before takeoff. Others send one final message to loved ones. A businessman opens his laptop. A young couple smiles for a photo. A child presses against the window, fascinated by blinking runway lights. No one knows that these ordinary moments will become the last confirmed memories of Flight MH370. At exactly 12:41 a.m., Flight MH370 begins its takeoff roll. The massive aircraft accelerates into the darkness. Seconds later, its wheels leave the runway. The Boeing climbs smoothly above Malaysia. Controllers watch the radar. Everything appears perfectly normal. For the next 40 minutes, nothing seems out of place. And then everything changes. High above the South China Sea, Flight MH370 cruises peacefully at 35,000 feet. Inside the cabin, most passengers are asleep. The cockpit glows softly in the darkness. Then, air traffic control instructs the crew to contact Vietnamese controllers as the aircraft approaches the edge of Malaysian airspace. The captain responds calmly. His voice is relaxed, professional, completely ordinary. Those words will become one of aviation's most haunting recordings. Good night, Malaysian 370. No one realizes it is the last confirmed communication from the aircraft. Only moments later, something impossible happens. The aircraft's transponder suddenly disappears from civilian radar. Controllers stare at their screens. The bright identification symbol vanishes. No emergency code, no distress signal, no warning, just nothing. For a few confusing minutes, everyone assumes it must be a technical problem. But every second that passes makes the situation more disturbing. A Boeing 777 cannot simply disappear. Or can it? Hours later, military radar reveals something astonishing. Flight MH370 did not simply vanish. Instead, the aircraft appears to make a dramatic left turn. It crosses back over the Malaysian peninsula. It flies hundreds of miles away from its planned route. Someone or something changed its direction. And yet the passengers remain completely silent. No phone calls, no emergency messages, no signs of panic. The mystery grows deeper. Investigators begin asking impossible questions. Did someone intentionally disable the transponder? Was the aircraft hijacked? Did the pilots lose consciousness? Or was there a catastrophic system failure unlike anything aviation had ever seen? Every theory seems possible. Every answer creates even more questions. The silence surrounding MH370 becomes louder than any explosion. As dawn breaks, families gather inside airport terminals. They expect delayed arrivals. Instead, they receive uncertainty. Television crews begin reporting a missing airplane. Phones ring endlessly. Names are called. Hope slowly turns into fear. Some relatives refuse to leave the terminal. Others stare silently at arrival screens that never change. Around the world, millions begin asking the same question. Where is flight MH370? Then another extraordinary clue appears. Although radar lost the aircraft, a satellite thousands of miles above Earth continued receiving tiny electronic signals. Not phone calls, not messages. Just automatic handshakes, silent digital whispers, one every hour. Each handshake proves the airplane is still flying, but no one knows where. With every passing hour, the search area grows larger than entire countries. And somewhere beneath the endless darkness, MH370 continues its final journey. The first search begins where everyone expects the airplane to be, the South China Sea. Rescue ships leave port before sunrise. Military aircraft scan the water from above. Helicopters circle endlessly. Every reflection on the ocean looks like possible wreckage. Every floating object raises hope. But hour after hour, nothing is found. It is as if a Boeing 777 has simply vanished from the face of the Earth. Then, engineers studying satellite data make a shocking discovery. Those hourly digital handshakes reveal something unexpected. The aircraft did not continue toward Beijing. Instead, mathematical analysis suggests it flew for nearly 7 more hours, south, into one of the most remote places on Earth. The southern Indian Ocean, an ocean so vast that finding one airplane could be like finding a single grain of sand in a desert. Governments mobilize an unprecedented international operation. More than 24 nations join the search. Ships, aircraft, submarines, satellites, oceanographers. Every available technology is deployed. Millions of square miles must be examined. Yet beneath the surface, the ocean hides mountains taller than skyscrapers, canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon, and darkness untouched by sunlight. Weeks become months. Search crews begin hearing mysterious underwater sounds. 4 separate acoustic signals echo through the depths. For a brief moment, investigators believe they have found the aircraft. Hope returns. Media outlets around the world announce a possible breakthrough. But robotic submarines descend into the darkness and discover nothing. The signals remain unexplained. Another clue disappears into the abyss. Thousands of miles away, families continue waiting. Some refuse to believe the airplane is gone. Some celebrate birthdays with empty chairs. Some leave phones switched on, hoping for a call that never comes. Every news conference brings another theory. Every theory brings another disappointment. For the families, time has stopped. The mystery is no longer about an airplane. It is about 239 lives suspended between hope and heartbreak. By the end of the first year, the search has become the largest and most expensive in aviation history. Yet the ocean remains silent. No black boxes, no fuselage, no final message, only endless water stretching toward every horizon. Investigators now face an impossible question. Did the answers sink into the deepest ocean on Earth, or is the greatest clue still waiting to be discovered? The mystery of MH370 has only just begun. 508 days after flight MH370 vanished, a maintenance worker walks along a quiet beach on Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean. Among the driftwood and seaweed, a large piece of metal catches his attention. At first glance, it looks like ordinary debris. But aviation experts soon arrive with a shocking conclusion. The object is a flaperon, a movable wing component found only on certain aircraft. For the first time, the world has physical evidence. MH370 did not disappear without a trace. The ocean has finally begun to speak. Over the following months, more debris appears. Fragments wash ashore across Madagascar, Mozambique, Mauritius, and the eastern coast of Africa. Each discovery confirms one terrifying possibility. The aircraft most likely ended its journey somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean. But none of these pieces reveal why it happened. Every answer creates another mystery. Attention now turns toward the cockpit. Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah becomes the center of global speculation. Investigators examine his simulator, his personal life, his flight history, His relationships. Months of investigation reveal no definitive evidence explaining the disappearance. Some experts believe deliberate human action is possible. Others strongly disagree. Even today, no official investigation has conclusively determined the captain intentionally caused the flight to vanish. The debate continues. Another theory suggests a catastrophic onboard fire. If smoke filled the cockpit, pilots may have turned back toward Malaysia searching for the nearest airport. A loss of cabin pressure could have gradually incapacitated everyone on board. The aircraft, still guided by autopilot, could have continued flying for hours until fuel exhaustion, and finally, an uncontrolled descent into one of the deepest oceans on Earth. It is a theory supported by some aviation experts, but it remains unproven. Others propose a completely different explanation. Hijacking. Electronic interference, mechanical failure, even cyber intrusion. Each possibility has been studied by investigators and independent experts. Yet every theory faces one impossible obstacle. There is no flight recorder, no cockpit voice recorder, no complete wreckage. Without those answers, certainty remains impossible. More than a decade later, the official cause of MH370's disappearance remains unknown. Thousands of square miles of ocean floor are still unexplored. New autonomous underwater vehicles, artificial intelligence, and advanced sonar technology may one day reveal the truth. Somewhere beneath miles of water, the aircraft may still rest exactly where it came to silence, waiting, hidden, preserved by darkness, until someone finally finds it. And when that day arrives, one of history's greatest mysteries may finally come to an end. Or perhaps, it will raise even more questions. Nearly 4,000 meters below the surface, there is no sunlight, no sound, no human footprints, only darkness older than civilization itself. If MH370 rests here, its final story has remained untouched for years. No witnesses, no survivors, no final goodbye. Just cold water and silence. Perhaps the airplane is perfectly preserved. Perhaps the cockpit still holds every answer investigators have searched for. Somewhere beneath the endless Indian Ocean, history is waiting. Let's retrace the final known moments. 12:41 a.m. Flight MH370 departs Kuala Lumpur. Everything appears normal. 1:19 a.m. The cockpit delivers its final radio message. Good night, Malaysian 370. Seconds later, the transponder disappears. Military radar later suggests the aircraft turned west. Satellite signals indicate it continued flying for hours. Then, silence. No confirmed distress call. No emergency transmission. No verified final location. One ordinary flight transformed into an extraordinary mystery. After years of investigation, many aviation analysts consider one scenario more likely than the others. The aircraft turned away from its planned route. It continued flying under autopilot. Eventually, fuel was exhausted. The engine stopped. The Boeing descended into the southern Indian Ocean. This explanation is consistent with satellite data, fuel calculations, and recovered debris. But it is important to remember one fact. Without the flight recorders, no theory can be considered proven. The truth still lies somewhere beyond human reach. Behind every headline there was a family. A mother waiting at arrivals. A father expecting a phone call. Children waiting for hugs. Friends planning reunions. 239 lives connected by a single journey. For them, MH370 is not simply an aviation mystery. It is an unanswered question that never stopped echoing. Time moved forward. Their search for certainty never did. The ocean covers more than 70% of our planet. Even today, much of its floor remains unexplored. Somewhere beneath those miles of darkness, flight MH370 may still be waiting. Its black boxes may still hold voices never heard. Its cockpit may still preserve the final seconds. And its discovery could rewrite everything we believe happened that night. Until then, the disappearance of MH370 remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. And perhaps, the next breakthrough will come from a scientist, an explorer, or someone watching this documentary today. Because every mystery leaves behind a trail. And every trail eventually leads somewhere.